Anyone who doesn't follow Zeus will burn in Hades for eternity, spending their time among the flames in sorrow and agony forever. That includes all, by the way, the Christians, the Jews, and Muslims, and so forth, because they have denied the one true God, Zeus. And we know this because, of course, Greek scripture says so. And, of course, Greek scripture also claims divine inspiration, which may not be challenged because anyone challenging that faith is a heathen, a child molester, unpatriotic, terrible, blood-drinking, animalistic piece of crap that is possessed by demons. And we know this because, of course, the Greek scriptures say so as well. We can look at history and we can see the glorious things which Greco-Roman paganism brought to the world. Of course, the Greek and Roman empires at the height of their power were the most powerful things ever known to man, the Romans especially. And of course the United States is founded, and anyone who claims this isn't the case is unpatriotic and also a blood-drinking, child-abusing heathen, that the United States was based on Greco-Roman pagan secular law. So, the United States must force out all non-Greco-Roman pagans and return to its true nature of worship, under, of course, the power of Zeus, aka Jupiter, and, of course, all these things that the Christians and so forth say are evil are actually good things. We know that, according to the divinely inspired Greco-Roman pagan scriptures, that homosexuality, orgies, being drunk, going to war constantly, these are good things and bring heaven and Elysium to everybody. Unfortunately, the sort of bland, cloying, monogamous, abstinent, goofball faiths of the evil demon Jehovah actually bring you to the fruition of Hades, where you suffer eternally. Now, of course, this won't make sense to the non-believers because they don't have faith in the one true God, Zeus. Of course, Cronus created everything, and then Zeus took over, killing Cronus, and then Zeus became the high god, and all these other gods, they all exist because the scriptures say so, and anyone who denies it is an evil-possessed heathen. Because the evil tyrant god Jehovah had an evil plan in mind. He created a bunch of false religions for people to worship so that they would go and suffer eternally, because Jehovah has a sick sense of humor. And also he had a bastard son through a Roman soldier who was ironically a Roman pagan, named Jesus, who essentially emulated Heracles only on a philosophical rather than a physical level. So in reality, Jesus and Jehovah are evil demonic beings who are trying to possess people's souls and turn them against the one true Greco-Roman Hellenistic faith. And we know this again because Greek and Roman scholars at the time and religious experts said so, and they were obviously divinely inspired because they were working in the name of the one true God Zeus. To those of you who say this is circular reasoning, I would say, if you just had faith in Zeus, you would know the power of Zeus. If you just believed in the Greco-Roman scriptures, you would feel the power and you would know that it was true. Because you can go to your altar and sacrifice an oxen to Zeus, and you'll feel that power as you dance orgasmically and get as drunk as hell. You'll know that that's the one true religion. So all the Christians and Jews and Muslims of the world, you must turn back to the one true faith of Greco-Roman paganism. Because as we've seen again in history, the Greeks, at the height of their power under paganism, were absolutely unstoppable. What did Alexander do? He bastardized his faith and went and prayed at the altars of the Egyptian pagans and the Persians and the Indians. And then Greece fell into disarray, and there were a bunch of little conglomerate nations run by lesser rulers, and Greece sort of faded away. But the pagans left behind all their amazing architecture and technology that to this day is half unstudied and still wows the mind with their amazing features, proving again that pagans are more intelligent than any other group of people. And the Romans at the height of their power were absolutely unstoppable. Nobody could stop the Romans. What did they do? Constantine, who was supposed to be a pagan and was a good man at first, saw the evil tyrant Jehovah's sign in the clouds and was possessed by demons and turned away from the true faith of Jupiter worship and Athena worship and so forth and became a Christian, destroyed his entire empire. It got split in half. Half of it basically ceased to exist and was taken over by other pagans and Christians. And then the other half practiced a sort of pseudo-pagan worship in which traditional paganism was mixed with Christianity, and they lingered on for 1,000 years, but finally fell to the evil, despotic Muslims who are following the same demonic god Jehovah under a different title, because Jehovah is actually a shape-shifting demon. And according to the Greco-Roman scriptures, these do exist, and they're capable of fooling people into following the wrong faith. We are obviously in the end times, the age of the Titans, the end and death of the gods, as the Norse Scandinavians, in their own ass-backwards pagan worship, but they were right on at least that point, understood that the gods have died off and are now in basically hibernation, as people fall out of favor with Zeus, and Zeus is asleep right now waiting to come back, and when he does, he will throw his lightning down and kill all the non-believers, and once again the world will be ruled by Greco-Roman pagans. Again, we can prove this is the case simply by reading Greco-Roman scripture, which if you have faith you will understand is divinely inspired. Now, for those of you who are confused about the meaning of this video, it's a challenge to the fundamentalist Christians. Everything I have just said falls under the category of the same sort of arguments which fundamentalist Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses make. They claim that their scriptures are divinely inspired and therefore without question. They claim that their one God is true, and that you will know this if you simply have faith in that one God. It's circular reasoning at its best. They claim that their scriptures are divinely inspired. They prove this by pointing to what their scripture says. They claim anyone who goes against their religion will suffer for eternity in hell or some other mythical location. They claim that the traditional Western values of the world, which have all but taken over the entire Western Hemisphere, are based on their singular religions. They claim that all this wonderful technology comes from their religions. The Muslims say, oh, well, we gave you Arabic numerals, which, by the way, were almost completely developed long before Islam existed. And the Christians claim, oh, well, we gave you secular law and tolerance, which they didn't. The pagans actually developed that in ancient Greece. The Islamics claim, oh, well, the Quran says the world is round. That was discovered in 600 BC, again by pagans. They claim that all of these miracles surround their religions, this wonderful technology and secular law, and all these wonderful advancements in philosophy, that they all revolve around their religions. But if you look at history, the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, who did they take their inspiration from? Greco-Roman pagans. Or in Judaism's case, more from Sumerian paganism. They all took their inspiration from far more advanced pagan cultures, then infiltrated them and took over. So for those of you who are Christians, Jews, or Muslims, the same arguments that you may make in defense of your religion being true are the same arguments anyone in any other religion can make. The only real religion which actually can lay claim to mass technological achievement, mass political achievement, mass political enlightenment in many cases, and mass increase in longevity and happiness for various aspects of the human race are the Greco-Roman pagans. It's in Greco-Roman paganism that we find some of the most modern technology. The Greek pagans invented flamethrowers. They invented gas grenades. The Romans invented machine guns. They invented the steam engine. They invented winches that they could literally lower off of city walls. They were 100 feet long. They could lower them off a city wall, and through counterbalance, they could lift a ship 200 feet long out of the ocean and turn it on its side and drown everyone aboard that ship. The Greco-Roman pagans accomplished more during their reign than every Christian, Muslim, and Jew combined has created in the entire history of Abrahamic religion. And yet those religions have the audacity to claim, well, we've invented all of these wonderful things, when in fact 99% of their supposed inventions were simply innovations on what Greco-Roman pagans had created. So for those of you who still cling to their strange ass-backwards desert faiths, and there's the smoke of Jehovah going out on my webcam, and of course that's the power of the God Jehovah, the one true God worthy to be worshipped. Those of you who are clinging to those religions, you're clinging to gods which don't exist, any more than the Greco-Roman gods did, because for a very long period of human history, they believed that those gods were real, just as Christians now believe Jesus is God. The Muslims believe Allah is God. The Jews believe that Yahweh is God. In time, they too will be forgotten in the annals of history. Their churches will decay into dust. Their scriptures will turn into compost and be eaten by worms. And what's left of the ragtag remnants of their religion will be on the fiction shelf along with Greco-Roman pagan ideology. And it'll be studied by university students the world over in comparative religion courses. And it will be claimed that it's the same as Greco-Roman paganism. A dead force which has no real bearing on reality, but which inspired us all. In Christianity and Islam's case, mainly inspired man, unfortunately, to do evil and hate his fellow man and be ignorant. Peace out.